All right, what we're going to do today is 9.2 special right triangles. Okay, this is kind of based on the Pythagorean theorem, but we're going to basically memorize a form. And these special right triangles are also commonly used triangles in real life. They have some structural properties that are important. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, the first one, and this is on page 424. The first one we're going to worry about, and this technically is theorem 9.4, but we kind of I was going to write that, view this a little bit differently, even though it is a theorem. So this is a 45-45 right triangle. Okay, and here's going to be two ways to do this here. This is going to be the format. And the book is slightly different. I like to do it a little bit different than the book, but you're welcome to do it the way the book is. I don't know how well my 45-45 triangle looks. It's not the best. So that's going to be 45, that's going to be 45. It does make an isosceles triangle. And so what I like to do, and this is my cursive L, I like to call these legs. So in a 45-45 triangle, the legs are going to be congruent because it's a isosceles triangle, and the legs are always, and so the hypotenuse is going to be whatever the leg is times radical 2. I think they use x's instead. Okay, so we're going to look at this and see how to use this. Okay, so I'm going to have a little triangle here. Super exciting. It's just going to be hanging out. Okay, and sometimes they'll just do like this and this. And you can't see it, so it's fine. Sometimes I'll do this. And I don't need to put 45 over here because if that's 90 and that's 45, that has to be 45, right? So sometimes they won't give you both angles, even though if they give you a 90, and if they give you two angles, you know what the third angle is. All right, and they might just say 4. And then they're going to, go, well, find me x and find me y. Well, let's see how we can find x. X equals what? 4. Okay, y equals, well, I'm going to use this formula up here. Y is going to equal, and that's what this is a formula. It's going to equal whatever the leg is. In this case, the leg is 4. And radical 2. And in this case, in the case of the book, we're not going to round. We're going to leave this exact. And so this is exactly what the answer is. Not a lot of work. Okay, so that's not the hard part about this. The hard part is when they do weird stuff. So we're going to start here. And we're going to call this 8. And I want you to find x, and I want you to find y. Okay, the first thing you should know is, well, x is going to equal y, isn't it? So I need to figure out these are both the legs, and so I need to use my formula again. It says leg equals, well, what does leg equal? Well, basically the hypotenuse is leg radical 2, and that's going to equal 8, right? That's the hypotenuse formula, so now I can find the leg. I need to divide both sides by what? Radical 2. So then that will be the legs, which is both x and y, are going to equal, well, 8 divided by radical 2. If you don't know how to do it manually, you might have to use a calculator. Manually, this is how you simplify it. You multiply both top and bottom by radical 2. Okay. So this is going to end up being 4 radical 2. Is that what your calculator says? Yeah. So basically, if you did it manually, you get 8 radical 2. Radical 2 times radical 2 is 2. And you reduce your fraction. 8 divided by 2 is 4. If you don't remember that, because I think you totally have missed that. Although, honestly, right now, everybody's so reliant on calculators. A lot of people don't learn the manual way to do it. Okay, that's about as hard as that gets. So let's move on to the next one. The next one's a little more difficult. And there's only 2. So don't be in a panic. There's a bunch. I said we got to memorize some things in this chapter, but we don't have a bunch of things. So this one is called the 30-60, 60-90 triangle. And we're gonna do this a little bit differently. And again, I like to do things different than what is in the book on this. Okay, I'm going to call this 30. I'm going to call 60. And of course, this is 90. Okay, what I like to do is I like to call things by, well, this is going to be the short leg. So I'm going to call it, and I make my S extra fancy so you know it's not a 5. That's the short leg. This is the medium leg, and you can write short leg. And this is the medium leg. And notice that the 60, if this is a movie projector, 60 projects on the medium leg, 30 projects on the short leg, and 90 would project on the hypotenuse. So the medium leg, here's the formula for the medium leg. It is short leg times radical 3. And the hypotenuse is going to be 2 times the short leg. Okay, so it's all centered around the short leg. So if you know what the short leg is, it's easy to get everything else. This one's a little more complicated because there's 3 things. One thing that I memorize in to learn this, with 30, 60, 90, there's 3 unique angles. It's going to go with the radical 3. 2s, yes. The 45, 45, it has 2 unique angles, the 45 and the 90. It goes with radical 2. So radical 2 goes with the 2 unique angles. Radical 3 goes with the 3 unique angles. Which one? Are we talking about going back to where I'm trying to go right now? Okay, yes, I'm going to go back to where we're trying to go right now without bending the page. Okay. And so I'm going to show you how we're going to use this. And we're going to start with the easy one, and then we'll work our way up to its harder. So I want you to think about this whole chapter, that it is different from all the rest of the chapters. And oftentimes in geometry, every time we switch a chapter, it's kind of a different feel. This one's totally different feel. This is way more algebraic than some of the past chapters. So we're just going to use this to kind of create formulas. Okay? So I'm going to call this 30. I'm going to call this 60. I'm going to call this 90. And I'm going to call this 7. I want to know x. I want to know y. Okay, this is the short leg, so this is S equals 7. Medium. The formula for medium is S equals radical 3. The formula is S radical 3. So to find the medium leg, I just need to substitute 7 radical 3. And I'm going to leave it exact, so that's all I've got to do. And y, the formula is 2s. So I'm just going to do 2 times 7. So it's going to equal 14. Okay. This would not be a Pythagorean triple, would it? Because this is definitely not an integer, is it? It's going to be an irrational number. Okay. So that's not too bad. Let's see if we can... I'm running out of space quick with these big triangles. All right. That's not too bad at all. But let's see. This is going to be a little harder. And so let's see if we can get this done. I'm going to call this 30, and that's 60, and I'm going to give you, this is going to be 5. I want to know x and y. Well, the first thing I want to establish, I need to know which side is which, and so what a lot of times I do is I'll just take a different color and just label it. This is going to be my short side. This is my short side radical 3. And this is my 2 times short side. Right? And again, I try to do the fancy S so I don't mess up my 5s. Okay, so this is where I need to start. How do I got to find my short side. I have to always find my short side first. So short side radical 3 equals 5. And we're really crooked, aren't we? We're better now. We've almost fixed it. So I'm going to divide both sides by radical 3. Okay, so that means that the short side is going to equal 5 radical 3 over 3. How to do that longhand is we got to get rid of the radical 3 on the bottom, and so this is how you do it. You multiply by 1, so that equals 5 radical 3, and of course radical 3 times radical 3 is 3. Okay, so that's my short side. That's ugly, isn't it? So that's what x equals. So what is y going to be? Well, it's going to be 2 times the short side, right? And so that's going to equal 2 times all that is just 10 radical 3, 3, and that's going to equal our y. Yeah. And this is about it. It gets a little more complicated, but not really. This is about as hard of a problem as it gets.
Is that 5 radical 3 or s radical 3?
Right here?
No,
Here?
on the right. No, all the way to the right.
That's 5 radical 3. That's why I try to make my s's extra fancy. I'm not doing very good today. Sometimes I do it like that, just to go crazy, so you know it's not a 5. You don't have to do that, but I tend to do that. Anything to try to not confuse myself or confuse you. All right, so we're going to do one more version because, well, since there's 3 unique angles, I guess there's 3 unique setups, and then we'll be done with the notes. All right, 30, 60, 90. I'm going to call this, let's just call this 20. And see if we can come up with the other sides. You always have to go short. So you always have to go to the short side first, and then you can find the medium side. So 20 equals 2 times the short side, right? So that means, what does the short side equal?
10.
Short side equals 10. So that's going to equal 10. What is medium going to equal? Short side equals 10.
10
That's it. So really, the second way is the hardest. All right, so this is what we're going to do for the assignment.